Take a deep breath, would you? Thank you, Mark and Octet. Well, it's the season of Advent in the Christian tradition. You see wreaths around the sanctuary and poinsettias around the, all around, actually, quite a few. They're beautiful, and they are a part of the Christian tradition. It is, as was noted earlier, the first night of Hanukkah tonight. And there are 8 nights, and it too, like Advent season, is a season of hope and of light, and of waiting, awaiting the light. In the Hanukkah story, a small amount of oil that should have lasted just a day lasts 8 days. In the rebuilding of the temple, the second temple in Jerusalem, there was this little bit of oil, and somehow it lasted. And for Advent, you know, its meaning has changed over the centuries. As many things are wont to do, there is change. Some connect it directly to the birth of Jesus, which is said to be December 25th, or at least it's celebrated then. But that particular tradition didn't really happen until the 4th or 5th century, connecting it directly to Jesus and his birth. In the old days, Christians would spend 40 days in penance and prayer, fasting to prepare for the Feast of the Epiphany, January 6th. What will come, the coming ahead of the light, and what has come, those days when the light of hope has shone brightly. In Islam, as in Judaism, God is never to be depicted. However, God can be referred to as a source or the source of light. So you see, part of it has to do with, at least in this part of the world, light increasing, but the spiritual light in a number of traditions. Still, we are in the darkness, literally and figuratively to a certain extent. If we don't learn in and from the darkness, no amount of light will we be able to let in. So we need not skip over the darkness. In fact, we must not. Have you heard of the World Happiness Report? How many of you heard of that? Great, a lot of you. How many have actually looked at it? Okay. Hey, I've heard of a lot of things. I have a long list of what I've heard of. I have a lot of books, a short list of what I've read. Okay. The Scandinavian countries, you know, seem to be at the top of the list of the happiest countries. I personally wonder, just because of winter, pardon me, I know I grew up back east, but winter, come on, they have very long winters. Come on, it's cold. But they're happy, apparently. the happiest countries in the world are the Scandinavian countries, and we've slipped from, I think it's 14th to 18th in terms of happiness, the United States has. What the study says, if you read through it, says that the countries, even poorer, financially poorer countries, that have a greater investment in social currency, in social relationships, family, community, are happier than, well, they should be. They're happier than they should be, considering that they're so poor. Incomes in the United States have doubled since 1972. Prices in the United States have gone up quadruple, 8 times, 12 times, depending upon what you're talking about, whether it's a quart of milk or a quart of gasoline or a house, especially in the Bay Area. Health issues seem to be what the researchers say is causing the United States to slip in its happiness factor. Health issues such as obesity, drug addiction, especially the opioid crisis, and depression dramatically increased, even in the past year or two. Over 250,000 more children in the United States are not covered with health insurance than just 2 years ago. 1 out of 50 children, or 1.5 million children in the United States of America, are homeless every year. In the United States, 2.7 million children, that's 1 in 28, currently have a parent behind bars. And on any given day, nearly 60,000 youth under the age of 18 are incarcerated in juvenile jails or prisons in this country. About 1/4 of the Earth's nearly 8 billion people are children. Poor nutrition causes nearly half of deaths in children under 5, and that's over 3 million children each year worldwide. If each child has the potential of contributing to the common good, if only given a chance, with good nutrition, healthcare, compassion, guidance, safety, are we doing what we can to change those statistics? The human community does so much good, and we fall short of our ideals. It's inevitable that we would. We as individuals hold high ideals. We fall short in realizing them, and it's a source of pain for many of us. It takes far too long to change the world for the better. The saying, think globally and act locally, has meaning in this regard. We can do what we can. We contribute through Guests at Your Table, through Kiva, which is an organization that you can give money to different small groups or individuals around the globe who need money for their small business startups, really small business startups around the globe. There are lots of ways to give money, and we do our best. But if we don't look right around us and think about our values as Unitarian Universalists and how it is that our children and youth learn those values. If we don't think about that, we are missing a great opportunity. We have a responsibility as Unitarian Universalists to share our values with our children. And you heard, I'm sure, with the children who are knocking on our door at the Mexican border, you've heard some politicians say more or less, hey, they're not our children. You've heard that, right? Not our children. What do we have to be concerned about? Our children, well, they're precious. Well, we'll get to that a little bit later, our children around the world, but our children right here, the ones that are here now and the ones that will come through that door, need you. Now, the word teacher, I think, is sometimes intimidating to people. You say, would you be a teacher? And some people take it in stride, no problem. And other people say, teacher? I can't be a teacher. So I want to invite you, if that troubles you, that you think about it differently. That you would be willing, because you have the capacity, because of your humanity, that you would be willing to be a presence in our classrooms. How many people in this room are human? Let me see. Wait, huh? What? Not everybody's raising their hands. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh no, they're just like the children, Bob says. You see, you have something to give. You have your life, your stories of your life, your ability to sit and listen, your ability to be in the moment and demonstrate your care. That is something that each and every one of you has, to some degree or another, the ability to be present in the moment for our children. So when the service is over and Bob has invited you to come forward and talk to him about signing up and asking you to sign up, I know that at least a dozen of you will sign up. And while I don't usually take attendance, you see, our families, the ones that are here now and the ones that haven't made it here yet, need other people, other adults, other responsible people to be present for their children, to help convey our Unitarian Universalist values. Because if we don't do it, they're not going to get it watching various things on social media. They're not going to get it uniformly, certainly in schools, whether they're public or private schools. They're not going to get it at Kmart. Where are they going to learn about Unitarian Universalism and this lifeboat that Unitarian Universalism is for so many people and could be for so many more? They will not learn those values if you're not there to live them with our children and youth. Families need other responsible adults to participate in the development of a strong moral compass. A strong moral compass in their children cannot be created just at home because of all the influences all around us. It just doesn't happen that way. This ain't Little House on the Prairie. We're in an urban or exurban setting. There are many influences. You need to be one of them. You need to be one of the influences on our children just by your presence, your care, your attention, your listening. sometimes telling your stories, and sometimes not. In a strong church, and I wrote this in my column this month, so some of you may have read it. No, I won't. In a strong church, members stretch to make the church strong. You stretch in terms of your financial support, giving 5% or more, if you can, of your net income in your pledge. Some people can't do that much. Some people can do more, but you look at a percentage of your income. Some people tithe. We know that, right? Tithing, 10%. Some churches, not Unitarians usually, ask everyone to do that, whatever their income. A sign of commitment. Well, we don't do that, but we can suggest that you give a percentage. Strive for 5 is one of my favorite sayings. Strive for 5. But we also have to give of our time and energy, and there's sometimes self-sacrifice involved. I know you don't want to miss my sermons. No, no, no. But at least 12 of you will. From January to May. And we have them on video, so you can catch them later. You will be surprised. Bob said this, and it's not just, an enticement. I have seen this in many different places where there are people, especially sometimes some of our older members, who are really reluctant to get involved, who get involved in our religious education programs and find that it changes them, that it opens up their hearts and minds to build relationship in this way they hadn't imagined. Gosh, time is zipping by, isn't it? It's almost time for me to say a few last words. The song that we were singing there, I Seek the Spirit of a Child, I don't know about you, plus the song the octet sang, and the opening words. I don't know about you, but my heart is just so full and so stressed out about the condition of our world and what our children have to deal with. But our children, for me, is our children. See, a lot of our children here at least have the basics of material things they need. And, fortunately, a lot of love. But when I think about the children being gassed at the border, I have gotten to the point where I cannot stomach it anymore. I will be going with a lot of other clergy to the Mexican border next week. I will be involved in a clergy action at the border. The American Friends Service Committee has organized this event. I cannot not act. So I will be there, and Michael has, I am most grateful, has agreed to read a sermon of mine to you. Not in my voice. But he will, and it will be good. And I ask you to think of us, over 100 clergy that I know of so far, who will be, not just Unitarians, who will be involved in this action next Monday. We cannot sit by and just wish it away. And money can help organizers and organizing organizations. And some of us have to show up, and that's what I'm going to do. So please keep us all in your thoughts, in your prayers. May it serve a purpose. May it move. May it move the authorities at whatever levels to do good, to not do evil to these children anymore. The business of incarcerating children, both domestically and now these children coming across the border who are separated from their families. It's big business, folks. The private prison industry is big business. We need to show up. May there be resolution to this crisis in peace, if it's at all possible. So may it be.